Hello and welcome. This is TJ Walker Live. Thanks for joining me today. This is our regular live office hours. If you're one of my students on Skillshare, Udemy, Coursera, any other platforms, this is your place to ask me any question, get feedback, post your own video, speak. There's no big agenda here today other than to, first of all, respond to you. This is also the place where my regular clients for Media Training Worldwide can come and ask me questions, follow up on our live trainings. And this is also the place for people who are a part of our new Ultimize community. If you're not using that app yet, you may want to try it out. And I do have some exciting news to talk about developments there later on in our program today. So if you have any questions or comments, you can post them in the chat room. You can post them on Facebook as well. Try to enable so you can be a part of our StreamYards. That way we'll see you. We're coming to you live today on YouTube, Facebook, several other platforms. If you're watching this on demand, we're sorry you couldn't join us live, but we do come to you every week, more or less the same time, Thursdays, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time in the United States for 1 hour. I'd like to say a special hello to my colleagues. Barb Tomlin, as always, is with us, our excellent community manager, Facebook manager for our student page. And my colleague and associate, JM, has joined us as well. JM, say hello. Barb, if you could say hello a moment. And JM is connecting. There he is.
There I am.
All right. Hi, Barb.
Howdy. So it looks like JM's got a better connection today.
Hello, everyone. It's me, JM.
All right. Good to see you both. Thanks for joining us today. A lot of exciting things going on in the news as it relates to communication. Again, the format for our segment today, any questions you have on communication or speaking to the media, public speaking, or any aspect of personal development, this is a forum for you to talk about anything you want. JM, I think I interrupted you. Did you want to say something?
No, that was it.
Okay, great. A lot of interesting developments in the world of audio communication in just the last week. Barb has talked about this in the past. You've heard me talk about this rise of the audio medium. Now, some of you are scratching your head saying, TJ, I'm 80 years old. Radio's been around forever. Yes, radio's been around forever. Podcasting has become a very big thing in the last decade or so. But now we have new platforms like Clubhouse, where it's audio only and entire communities are organizing around it. And like anything that happens to attract a crowd and an audience online, now there's a million imitators and people who are saying, I want a piece of that too. Facebook, never shy about copying what's successful in other social media platforms, has introduced its own version of this audio. Spotify is now getting into the game. Barb, I know you've been following these developments closely. Can you give our community here and our colleagues a little bit of your sense of what's going on in the audio communication space?
Well, I think it is one of the most exciting times for online communication because almost any one of us can pick up a phone and communicate just like a party line in the old days in the analog phone systems. It's you can communicate with your voice, but it's not always easy for you to be able to communicate with video, and the bandwidth is often an issue. Like JM is having difficulty coming in clearly from where his location today on the visual. And so, and of course, what I'm sharing with you, I'm not able to come on cam and I'm sharing my environment. But by picking up your phone, you can use your earbuds with your phone to get the clearest signal so that you don't have to have a lot of additional gear, but be front and center, being a participant in audio conversation and audio events. And I'm extremely excited with what Facebook has come up with. Like you said, the copycat, they're right always in play there. But the thing that Facebook offers is the best quality sound in delivery.
And Barb, for those of our folks joining us today, and a special hello to SK is just written in. A lot of initials today: TJ, SK, JM. Barb, will have to start calling you BJ, maybe.
BJ.
Barb, can you share your screen in a moment and show people just how to access this audio function on Facebook? Because I'm not sure I actually know.
Right. It hasn't been, I'm not able to do that today. It's being rolled out in test groups. Yours is going to be one of them. I will tell you that. So please join TJ's online student support community, and you can do that by taking one of his courses on Udemy. But that is happening. And if you go to Mark Zuckerberg's profile, you will be able to see what he did. He actually demonstrated it. And I mean, if you want to share that, I'm not, I think really probably next week would be the best thing to do on that.
Sure.
But it's there. And the thing to remember is with all of these options you have, Clubhouse is by invitation only for you to come. It is not open to the general public. You have to know somebody who's on Clubhouse to get an invitation from them. And the longer you are on Clubhouse, the more invitations you have to give out. So it is there a little bit more exclusivity, but it's catching on like wildfire. And around the clock, all kinds of conversations. The top, even Oprah's on there. I was really surprised. But all of the big names in social are on there. Elon Musk was on there. Of course, Zuckerberg was on there. They're all trying it out. But the sound often waffles because people are coming in from all over the world. But Facebook has figured out how to control the audio better. And you'll see that in Zuckerberg's what he's demonstrated. You will see that. And so I think we have a lot to look forward to there over these summer months, especially when we're outside, more active. And we'd just like, geez, I'd like to share that with my friends on social media. And yesterday was World Social Media Day. Anyway, so it's all about being social and sharing your story. And so, and the summer is the time to do that. So it'll be great for everybody to jump on the bandwagon and test the audio on their phone. So.
And by the way, if you're joining us, feel free to chime in. You can put your comments in text. You can join us on video. And you can also join us on video, but not show your face, and then join us only on audio. So we'll be sort of our own mini Clubhouse today. SK writes in the chat room that he or she can help. SK, do you want to join us with video now and just explain a little more about what you know? Is it confession?
When's the last time they went out?
What's that?
Excuse me.
SK, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm the one.
Okay, great. Share with us what you know, and full disclosure, someone sent me an invitation to Clubhouse. I joined. I've never gone back, so I've spent 0 time in it. So I really don't know anything about it other than it is the big new thing and a lot of people are talking about it.
Hello.
There you are. Now we can see you. Great.
Hi. Yeah. Okay. So Clubhouse is about it's actually a voice chat area where we can discuss. We can have a one-to-one conversation with everyone who we want to send all those things. It's just like Facebook or Twitter, which we use for posting videos and text or everything. So in Clubhouse, we can use only the audio. So, and one thing is that in Clubhouse, we need to invite people. Maybe I have 2 invites left for me. So if anyone wants, you can get in touch with me.
Okay.
Each person can add up to 2 people.
Mhm.
Each one can have 2 people to approve. I can approve up to 2 people in my contact list
Okay.
if they apply for it.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing and your generosity. I am going to make a prediction. First of all, with any new platform, it's always better to get in early. So if you can take advantage of what SK is offering or anyone else, and you're interested in it, better to do it now. I am going to make the prediction that a year from now, anyone can join Clubhouse and there won't be that exclusivity.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to sneeze in your ear.
I hope it's not COVID. I hope it's not COVID.
What's that?
Yeah, I hope it's not COVID. You're safe and.
And if it is, I didn't infect anyone here. I'm the only one in the room here, so I'm not getting anyone else. But I feel very good, and I've had both of my vaccines. Here's what I think Clubhouse is doing, and you've seen this before with other apps as they roll out. You know, people forget that Facebook was very exclusive when they started. You had to be an undergrad at Harvard, and then you had to be an undergrad at one of the Ivy League schools. And then they rolled it out to more elite colleges and the top 30 or so. And then it was just colleges, and that made people want more. And it made people who are older want to get in. Everyone likes something where there's scarcity. And part of the challenges with any digital product is it's inherently not scarce because it costs nothing to distribute it to 10 billion people versus one person. But you can artificially create limits by saying, invitation only, or you have to go to this college. So it's very shrewd of them to do that. But I do think in the long run, for any social media platform, especially one that's trying to compete with Facebook or
I think they are now testing it in all the platforms. So they're not open the space for everyone because they're just testing, I think.
Yeah.
They're not yet ready with the whole structure and all those things. So they are just testing now.
Well, that's another reason to sort of start slowly, because if you don't want to be so overwhelmed that things fall apart. I mean, that's essentially what many people believe happened to Friendster, which was a huge social media platform that was far ahead of Facebook a dozen or so, or 17 years ago. But they just couldn't keep up with their technology. It was crashing a lot. And when's the last time anyone ever talked about Friendster? So that may be one of the strategic reasons why they're being selective too. Well, SK, thank you so much for saying hello, and appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you, DJ.
Is there a particular room, and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Is there a particular room or channel on Clubhouse that you are an active participant in?
At present, I just joined actually. So I just joined a few days back, and I'm just building up some rapport with Clubhouse. I think I don't get any any other problem in Clubhouse. I hope.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much, and appreciate you making yourself available, sharing with us, and offering to invite people to Clubhouse. There's a perfect benefit right there of why it's good to show up here with our live sessions. You never know what sort of doors can open for you, because there's some people dying to get an invite to Clubhouse.
Right.
And there's an opportunity right there.
The longer you're on Clubhouse, you can invite more people. I've been on there quite a while, and I think I connected with you, and I'll show you how you can set up a room so we can all go over there and test it out together and put that in our group. So
Sure.
if they come to your online student community support group on Facebook, they will be able to find that in the guides within the group. And then any of our members who are members on Clubhouse can connect and share their invitations there in the guide. How's that?
That
Does that work?
Sounds like a
Okay.
fantastic deal. Thanks, Barb. You know, Barb, you just mentioned something that I think warrants more comment. You said Oprah's on there. And a lot of people think like, Oprah, she's a billionaire. She had her own daily talk show. She has her own network. She has her own magazine. She has books. She was on 60 Minutes. She can be anywhere she wants. Why would she spend time in some new, unproven thing where there's no measurable audience? They're presumably not paying her. And I have found this has been remarkably consistent with people who are real leaders and are famous in one area. They're famous in part because when they see opportunity, they dive in. And they understand the more media, the more media. And Barb, I think you probably remember this person I'm going to mention. A lot of our audience won't, but Dr. Joyce Brothers was known as someone. She was famous from the 1950s being on quiz shows, but she became the most famous psychologist in America, in part because she would just say yes to every single talk show opportunity. It didn't matter if you were a very, very small town talk radio show in Nebraska. She didn't say no to opportunities to communicate. And I think Oprah is similar to that because she's on Sirius XM and she has books, magazines. She could have stayed on broadcast TV and decided to really plant a flag in cable television back when some people wondered why she wanted to do that. And to me, that's the big difference between a lot of people who are really successful and a lot of people who have ambitions to be successful is the really ambitious people who are successful just dive in. They say it's an opportunity to speak, share my message, connect with people. I'll just do it. A lot of other people are like, well, I want to see all the numbers. I want proof. I want evidence. What are their ratings? And the problem is if you wait that long, it may be too hard to get in. Certainly that's the case with YouTube, a lot of other platforms. People who just dove in early and didn't worry about how small the audience was, built an audience and cultivated an audience. And it took time, but then it really grew. So I do think that is a good lesson we can learn from Oprah. We can't all be Oprah. We can't all become billionaire media impresarios, but we can embrace her attitude, which is use every tool you have. Try the old established things, your own TV show, but try something new like a Clubhouse. And that's a reminder to me that I need to get off my you-know-what and spend some time in Clubhouse too. Now, we do live in a world where there's so many opportunities. I mean, there are people forget, there's more than 1,000 competitors to YouTube. I mean, you could spend all of your time just creating content for different video platforms. There's a lot of audio platforms. There's a million blogging platforms. Part of what I think is important if you do want to reach an audience and build a community in the modern era is you do have to figure out what do you personally like, what works well with your own brain, what works well with your own flow, because some people, they just love to write. They love to write. They'll write all day long. They can write books. They can blog. They can do tremendous quantities of writing. But to do a 3-minute TV appearance on CNN would just flummox them. It would tie them up in knots for 2 days. And it just wouldn't make sense for them to hire a publicist and try to spend all their time trying to get hits on network TV. Everyone has certain strengths and weaknesses. Really great media pros, though, I think take the attitude of more is more. The more opportunity you have to take, the better. Those of you in the United States are familiar with the name Howard Stern, who likes to call himself king of all media. It's in part because even though he dominated radio, he had TV shows and cable TV shows. He wrote best-selling books. and he had movies about his life. So you could basically say he was in all media. He didn't say no, and he leveraged the community he had from his radio, his AM terrestrial radio and FM terrestrial radio show. He leveraged that audience to help get him every place else, whether it was going on late night comedy shows, hosting his own shows on cable TV, writing books, and starring in movies. So that's the thing. A lot of people in the United States, I think in general, don't really appreciate how powerful audio is. And Barb, I know you get this. But when we think of glamorous TV personalities, so many people do think of Oprah, or they think of other daytime talk show hosts, Judge Judy, people like that. And when you think of real prestige, people typically think of, I think of Paul Krugman, columnist for the New York Times. You may have your own columnist favorite from the dominant newspaper in your country. So there's kind of been these two extremes. TV has the glamour, the glitz, the celebrity wow factor. Text, print, reputable news magazines, newspapers have the prestige. Radio, in a lot of people's minds, was sort of neither fish nor fowl. Didn't have the glamour and the beauty of the pretty people on TV. Didn't have the respect and legitimacy of the most respected newspaper. What was it? And truth be told, on a lot of radio, there was a lot of bad quality. You have a lot of cranky talk show hosts who just rant nonsense and have no journalistic standards. But for people who really understand radio and are good at it, it is a huge, huge marketplace, and the rewards are massive. Howard Stern, if he's not a billionaire by now, is pretty close to one because he's had such a huge audience for so long and made so many hundreds of millions from Sirius XM plus with the stock. And he's so much more successful than what we think of as a high-profile, than whoever the current news anchor is for the CBS Evening News. Whereas traditionally the anchor for CBS Evening News, when I was growing up, Walter Cronkites, the Dan Rathers of the world, they were considered to just be the pillar of respect and prestige. But radio has a stronger connection and relationship with the audience. So for someone like Howard Stern, for many years, he was on live 4 hours a day. Whereas a TV newscast, a TV broadcast newscast is typically 22 minutes out of a half-hour show. So there's just so much less time for TV. Radio, quite often in audio, whether it's podcasts, whether it's these new forums like Clubhouse and what Facebook is rolling out, is you have the luxury of time. And with that time, you can build a relationship with an audience, with a community, and that's the real power. Someone who passed recently here in the United States, really the most famous, and by rating standards and financial standards, the most successful in the country, arguably other than Howard Stern, is Rush Limbaugh, who has died in the last year. But he's someone who made more than $1 billion. And in a good year made a couple $100 million. And yet a lot of people never thought about him, never saw him because he wasn't on TV, wasn't in their newspaper. But he had his loyal core audience of 15 to 20 million people in a time when a television show can be considered a success if it has 2 million people. So the audiences can be so much larger for audio-based programming. In part, you're casting a wider net. If you're on for 3 hours a day, there's just a much better chance you're going to capture someone in their car for the 15 minutes when they drive from home to the grocery store. Whereas if your show is only on for 30 minutes a day at a set time, A, you're not going to catch that person driving to the grocery store. B, it's just a much smaller window. So you don't have as many opportunities of building an audience. But I know I've done this in the past over the years, ask people, think of the top 10 media people, talk show hosts, journalists, anchors, who get paid the most. Who can you think of? People typically just name the TV people. Whereas if you look at the actual list, it's quite often dominated by audio people. Howard Stern, Rush Limbaugh. And folks, I'm not talking about politics today. I'm certainly not endorsing Rush Limbaugh's worldview. Another person in the political vein is Sean Hannity. Again, I'm not endorsing his political view, but Sean Hannity, people know of through his nightly appearance on a TV network, the Fox News channel here in the United States. And yet he makes most of his money from his AM talk radio show, broadcast 3 hours a day across the country on hundreds and hundreds of stations. There's actually a lot more money there because you've got 3 hours worth of ads versus 1 hour of ads. And the audience is simply much larger. So there's a lot of, and I'm not saying money is the only thing that makes someone legitimate, but there's huge amounts of money in the audio world because there is a huge audience there. And you can build a large following if you consistently say interesting things. A special hello to our friend Dwayne Marlowe, who is checked in with us on Facebook. And Dwayne says, finally figured it out, not real clear, of course it's probably me. I don't know if you're talking about Clubhouse. Oh, Dwayne says, Rush had a TV show in 1994, I believe. I worked for a congressman during that time and he was on it. Yeah, Rush Limbaugh did have a TV show on, and I think it was 92 to 93, but maybe it was 94 as well. It was on for a couple of years. And I used to watch it. Now, again, I was not a follower of his particular philosophy, but I do think he was a skilled showman. He happened to, people misread that time. They think he failed at TV. His ratings were actually pretty good, but he was on at a time when there was a massive explosion of new hosts. You had a number of, Joan Rivers had a show. You had, what's the guy who, his name just escaped me, and he just co-starred in the remake of the Eddie Murphy movie, Coming to America, his sidekick. Barb, who am I talking about? Do you know who I'm talking about? He also had Arsenio Hall. Arsenio Hall had a show at the same time. So there was all this competition for the time slots. And Rush Limbaugh had his show on at 3 in the morning in some markets, and it was very hard to get consistent ratings. And I think he just figured out, hey, I'm making $30 million a year in my shorts and a t-shirt doing talk radio, or I can make an extra $1 million a year doing a TV show where I have to be in New York, suit and tie, all dressed up, and an extra 5 hours out of my day. I think he decided, why don't I just stick to the $30 million a year I can do from home in my bathrobe in Palm Beach? And that's essentially why he gave up his TV show. Although there are some who will say, oh, it was canceled, it was a ratings failure. It wasn't quite that simple. But Dwayne, thanks for joining us. JM is checked in on our Facebook page as well. So if you're just joining us, I am TJ Walker. These are our live office hours. If you have any questions about personal development, any of my personal development courses, public speaking, media training, this is the place to do it. We are here for you first. I certainly have things I like to talk about and come prepared every single week, but first priority is you. If you have a question about or a concern about anything you're grappling with in one of my online courses, these are my live office hours for you. We can't quite be like Harvard or Yale or Princeton and have the professor in his or her office Thursdays or from noon to 2, but I can be here with you virtually, and hoping that makes this a little more interactive and helpful to you as you're learning. Barb is Oh, Barb's typing in, just asking SK if he has any other questions. SK says, how can I improve my English fluency as a non-native speaker? Well, SK, one of the ways you can do it is exactly what you did. We gave you the opportunity to speak here, and you just took it. So I compliment you on that. Speak as often as you can, anywhere and everywhere. It would have been so easy for you to just say, oh, I don't want to go on. My English isn't perfect, and just typed your comments earlier. But instead, you came on and you spoke. That's great. I applaud you for that. So one thing you can do is to just speak as often as possible. Another thing you can do is teach a course. Teach a course in something. And the process of you recording yourself, watching yourself, listening to it again, editing it, will improve your ability to communicate effectively. That would help. I mean, some of you may get tired of me saying this. Barb gets tired of me telling you this, but I think everybody should make a course. If you've ever helped one person learn any skill or improve any skill in life, you already have all the skills you need to teach an online course. Doesn't mean we should all be professors, tenured professors at Stanford. I'm not suggesting that. But an online course, you don't even have to charge for it, but it's just a more structured way of helping someone than just making a video. So I want to talk a little bit how to do that and some of the expectations. So SK, I would highly encourage you to make a course and really listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. Something else you can do is listen to some online instructor or TV commentator you respect. Then you say the same thing. Record it, listen to the two. It's not that you have to mimic that person, but listen for what's similar, what works. One thing that will help anyone in any language be more understandable to people is to speak a little bit slower and also use the full range of your voice. I notice with a lot of people I work with around the world, if they're a little bit nervous, which is only natural if you're speaking in a language that isn't your first language, you tend to speak a little faster and a little slower. You think, okay, let me get through this. But by speaking faster than normal and lower energy and lower volume, it makes it much harder to understand. Now, in theory, it's easy to go the other direction. There's that caricature of the ugly American who goes to France or somewhere and starts speaking like this, where they just yell, thinking if I just yell and speak slowly, people will understand me. Well, no, it doesn't work if you're trying to push out a language that the other person doesn't understand. But it does help if you are speaking in a language people understand, but they don't happen to understand your accent because it's not what they're used to. In that case, speaking a little louder and a little slower can be helpful. So I wanted to give all of you kind of an extra reason to at least think about making your own online courses. People come to me all the time and say, well, TJ, it seems hard, and the good topics are taken, and there's so much competition. All of those things are true, but there's still a tremendous amount of opportunity. So I just want to share with you some different ways of thinking about this. So if you were to go on to the Udemy website, for example, Udemy actually gives you the ability to see what people are searching for and what course topics are popular. So they have a tools button, and you can hit Marketplace Insights. And you can test a particular topic. Now, if you're really good at, let's say, artificial intelligence, maybe that's a hot topic. You can type that in. So, okay, that's pretty popular. The top course makes $7,000 a month. That's pretty good. You can check other topics too. Let's look at machine learning. That sounds like a good topic. The top person there is making $30,000 a month. That sounds great, but wait a minute. There's high demand from students. That's a good sign. Uh-oh. There's a high number of courses. What does that mean? Let's scroll down. There's 433 courses on machine learning. Well, that's tough competition. Furthermore, the median monthly revenue is only $36. And the number one course is 44 hours long. The number two course is 25 hours long. So if the median is $36 and there's 433 courses, that means you could do a course that's better than about 216 courses. It could be 30 hours long, and you'd only make $36 a month. That sounds horrible. That sounds scary and depressing. Because what if you were better than 100 courses? You might end up making 0. So that would scare me away from doing a course on that topic, frankly, plus the fact that I know nothing about machine learning other than broad conceptual ideas that I read in books, but I don't know any of the technical stuff. So I recommend for people, especially if you haven't done a course, pick a much less popular topic. Pick an easier topic. And I'll show you something that has affected my thinking just recently. So I'm going to type in a topic. Let's try passive income. This is something you hear people talk about all the time. $1,000 a month. That's a lot less than $30,000. But there's still a high number of courses. There's still a lot of courses on that topic. 121 courses. Do I really want to compete with that? Let's look for something even easier, where there's less competition. How about stress management? We've all had stressful days. So here's a topic, $944, and still high number of courses, 244. So that's an awful lot. Let's see if we can come up with any other topic. Barb, is there a topic you can think of? I'm going to offer one more in just a moment. But JM, maybe you have a topic, and I want you to see sort of different ways of thinking about this. I'm going to toss in one more right now. Let's look at freelance consulting. Freelance consulting. Now, this is a little more interesting. The top course only makes $200, $205. But there's high demand on the average number of courses. How many? Well, there's only 17 courses. This is all of a sudden looking more promising. And you may say, well, TJ, still $205 isn't that much. Here's my thinking. It's always nice to have a big course that's wildly profitable. And my, for example, my complete communication skills course, which is my #1 course, does generate a very sizable amount of money every month. I mean, more money than, frankly, most people make from a full-time job in the United States. But I have a lot of other courses where I make maybe $5 a month, or $200 a month, $50 a month. You may think, well, why is that even worth it? Well, let's say I did a course on freelance consulting, but I could do it in a day. but it only makes $50 a month. Is that worth it? A lot of people would say, that's not really worth it. Here's why I think it's worth it. Let's do an investment calculator. Let me just plug in some numbers. Let's say you do it for the course and you start with $50. And let's, courses don't last forever, but I've had some courses up for 7 years that still make money. But at some point, a course gets old. Let's say we do the course and it's up and it makes money for 7 years. Now, let's say that every time we invest that, or every time we make the $50 a month, we invest it in an information technology index fund, which is what I invest in. And if you look at Vanguard or any other information technology index fund, over the last 10 years, the average rate of return is 20%. Now, it could go to minus 20. And I'm not here trying to sell you on any mutual funds or stocks. That's not the point of this. But if you put it in an information technology index fund and it got 20%, and you just made another $50 every month, and you reinvested it, well, you would have $8,000, $8,615. Again, that doesn't really sound like that much, but if you made the course in a day or two, $8,615 is not bad for a couple of days' work. It's just you don't get it all at once. It would take 7 years. Now, let me tell you how I try to think long term. I'm going to take that same amount of money, but I like to think in terms of 20-year timelines. I want plenty of money for my daughter if she wants a big wedding, or if she wants something else, or it's just nice to have a lot of money around. I plan on, I hope, living another 50 years or so. So 20 years isn't that far. So we're already 7 years into this. And let's assume that the course is not making any more money. So let's put what we add down to zero, but we've just stuck that $8,000 in an index fund, and we're getting what it's got in the last 10 years. I hit calculate, and now we're at almost 6 figures. It's $92,000. That, to me, is real money. Now, is this guaranteed? No. Could the stock market be down for 7 years in a row? It could. Could you make a course and it all of a sudden get zero? Yeah, it could. But I just wanted to share with you, that's sort of my thought process. It's not always about, well, this course makes $50,000 a month, and I have to make at least $10,000 a month, or I'm not going to do it. Sometimes you look for little streams and you think that it could be around for quite a while. Even if you're not number one, it could create a nice steady stream, and then that could grow through the power of compounding if invested properly. And then you could end up with a very large amount of money, but it takes time. And most people are not patient. SK suggests a topic of speed reading. Now, I have not checked that topic in a while, but I know in the past that was quite lucrative. Let's look at that topic of speed reading and see what comes up. Boy, did I share the wrong page? I think I shared the wrong page. Let me try that again. I'm going to share the screen. And now I'm going to share the right one. So speed reading. So the top course makes $5,600 a month. That's a nice chunk of change. That's more than what the average American makes as a full-time salary. And in many parts of the world, that's more than people make in a year. So certainly if you could make the number one course, that would be great. Again, here's what I look for. There's a high student demand, which is great, but uh-oh, there's a high number of courses. It's more popular than all but 6% of search terms on Udemy. And it has 47 different courses. Now, that's a lot better than 200 or 300 or 400 courses on a topic. But the median monthly revenue is only $22. So if I were to investigate this topic, I'd want to look at as many courses as possible, because if it looks to me like 35 of these courses are great courses, I don't want to make a great course be below the median and only make less than $20 a month. Then it does seem like not a great use of time. Another thing to look at when you're looking at courses, the first place course has 32,000 reviews. That's telling me that Jonathan Levy is making a lot of money from that course. The second place course, 6,000 reviews. So Sylvia is making a lot of money. Now, this person also has the third place course. So all of these courses have 1,000 or more reviews. So that's telling me not just the first place course instructor is making good money, but all of the top 5 are. So that's a good sign. I also like to see how long are the courses. The number 1 place course is not that long. It's 5.5 hours long. The second place course is 14 hours long. But the number 4th and 5th place course, those are only 2 hours long. I have found personally that if I do what I think is the best course on a topic, and it's also the longest course on the topic, that dramatically increases the chances of it becoming a bestseller and becoming lucrative. So this is something to think about when you are making a course. The number 1 mistake most people make when they're doing their first course on Udemy is they pick something that simply isn't a topic. They'll pick something like, I'll just type in YouTube for teenagers. Only they don't use this. It's not a topic. So if you code your title and everything with that, you're not going to sell a single course, most likely. Now, Barb has suggested a topic. Let's try Clubhouse. It is on. Clubhouse app. Okay, now this is very interesting. Top monthly income is $838, which is not bad. There's average student demand, low number of courses. But look at the trajectory. When you look at February to May, by my rough estimate, the audience or the demand for people searching for Clubhouse app has gone up at least 200%, if my eyeball estimation is correct. So this can be a great opportunity. Here's the other thing I like. There are only 6 courses on the topic of Clubhouse. The top course only has 21 reviews. Joelle and Natalie Rivera are wildly successful Udemy instructors. But I'd be willing to bet they probably are not super famous on Clubhouse. I'm willing to bet they partnered with Larry Roberts, who maybe does know something about Clubhouse and is active on it. And they opportunistically, and this, I'm not saying that in any negative way, saw the need and said, hey, this is hot. Let's jump in and meet the marketplace. And congratulations to them. Shame on me for not having done it. Shame on us, Barb, for not having done this course. So the interesting thing about this course, now they also put it in their own niche, because Joelle and Natalie are experts on life coaching and teaching people how to be life coaches. So they are teaching people Clubhouse through the lens of the life coaching industry. And it's become the #1 course. Now, the second place course only has 4 reviews. The third and fourth place course don't have any reviews. And to be honest, and the fifth place course has a 2.9 rating, which is very low. I've frankly never seen anything like this, where basically there's no competition. Because if you launch a course and just get 5 friends and family to leave a review, you'll be the #2 course on that. And the #1 may be making $800, but I would think the #2 course would make at least 500. So for anyone watching this on demand, if you know anything about Clubhouse, I would love to partner with you. And Barb, I'll give you first dibs. If you would like to make a course with me on Clubhouse, I would love to do that, because based on my 7+ years experience on Udemy, this is basically a can't lose opportunity. All the trends are the right way. Everything is trending upward as far as the volume search.
TJ,
There's no competition. Yes.
what about the audio marketing to cover all of those? The Facebook audio,
So that's the thing. The beauty of Udemy is we don't have to guess. It may be the most brilliant opportunity idea ever. We may type it in and find that there's one course, a person's making $30,000 a month, and all we have to do is make the second one. Let's check. Audio marketing is something nobody looks for on Udemy.
Okay.
So that's the real beauty of Udemy, is we now just saved 50 hours out of our life, because we know we don't want to make a course on audio marketing. Now, we certainly could have a section in a course in Clubhouse about audio marketing.
But what about podcasting then? How big is that in there?
Podcasting is a topic. And in fact, I have a course on podcasting. But it's
$950.
course only makes less than $1,000. And you can see it's very up and down. It's actually lower the last 5 months than it was in January and December. And it's a topic that's been around a long time. There's 112 courses, so there's a lot of competition. I have a course on podcasting. It just covers how to speak in a podcast. It doesn't cover everything you need to know about all the cords and mics and speakers and all of that. And yeah, Phil Evingner, as he typically does, has done a great job with this course. He's been the #1 leader on this, and he does his own podcast too, which I would recommend if you like podcasts, because he talks about how to make courses for Udemy in his podcast, and he's partnered with an expert on this as well. So that's a very entrenched field where the numbers are down, the pot of money isn't that big, but Clubhouse. And I actually think I checked this a month ago, and it was not yet an official category on Udemy. So
I know the top people that are making the money as doing that, and they're in that group that I have you in. So let's discuss this one very quickly.
So that would be a great opportunity.
Yeah. I'm down for that. Let's see if we can't do that.
Because right now it's only at the 43rd percentile, but you look at anything that's going up 200% in 6 months is generally a good place to be in any marketplace.
How big is TikTok on there?
How big is what?
TikTok on Udemy. Yeah,
TikTok marketing.
I call it TikTok marketing.
And it's $1,299.
Wow.
and which is so it's not in the top 90 percentile. It's more popular than all but 12% of topics, but it's not that popular. You can also see it fluctuates. I mean, TikTok is not going away.
Yeah.
And in fact, the parent company of TikTok reached out to me just 2 weeks ago because they are entering the online training space, and they've asked if I wanted to be a part of their venture. So there may be coming more alliances with TikTok, but there's high competition for that topic. There's 42 courses on it.
Okay.
And the median is only $22. So again, you could do a course better than 20 other courses and make enough money for one lunch, basically. So that's why, again, for someone who is looking to create a course and looking for something that meets a need and where there's a good entrepreneurial opportunity for making money, I think Barb found the perfect one, and that is Clubhouse. And more than one of us can do it, so we can have a little friendly competition there. But I would love to do a partnership with, certainly Barb, you would be my top choice, but anyone else wants to partner with us, reach out to us and let us know. And SK wants to know about Instagram. Let me just check Instagram right now. I think Instagram marketing is a topic. I don't think Instagram by itself is currently registered as a topic, but let me just check. Yeah, it's Instagram marketing is the official topic. Now this is interesting because it is so much bigger than TikTok, and I'll just share with you what the data reveal. Here we are in the tools section of Udemy. I typed in Instagram itself was not a topic. Instagram marketing was. The top course makes $8,500 a month. Not bad. That's a six-figure income if you did that every month. And it's in the top 2% of searches. So people are keenly interested in this topic. But there's high number of courses. 189 courses. So you could be better than 90 courses and only make $15 a month. So if you're going to do a course on that topic, you really have to have a strategy to differentiate yourself. You can't just cover the basics. You can't just be a me too course. You'll get lost. So, and I'm not going to do a course on this, but if I were to do a course on this, I would make sure that I cover everything in my own way that the top 5 bestsellers have. And I would make sure that I have more content, by far, much deeper content than anyone else in the top 5. And right out of the gate, I see that number 2 person, Evan Kimbrell, has a 23-hour course. So that's telling me right now I would have to do at least a 25-hour course to have a viable strategy of trying to penetrate the bestseller list, or certainly to get to number 1. Now, not saying don't do it. I have 30-hour courses for things that I really know a lot about: public speaking, communication skills, media training. But I'm drawing upon 30 years of experiences in the trenches that allow me unique insights. It's very hard to come up with 30 hours on a topic if you haven't lived in that space for years and years and years. I'm TJ Walker, and we're not going to go on and on for years and years today. We're going to stick to our 1-hour time limit. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. SK, thanks for joining me. JM, Barb, as always, Twain, and all the others. Thanks so much for being a part of this live session. I'm TJ Walker. I'll see you on Facebook, and I'll see you right here next week. Thanks a lot.